So you're welcome, everyone. So my name is Ango Mustafa, and I am the head of programs and strategy for Uplift Hub. For some of you that are new to the hub, Uplift Hub is a non-profit organization whose mission is to create a community of resourceful individuals dedicated to collaborative learning, not just in technology, but also in business and in life skills. You will agree with me that if there are more youths in Africa than jobs. So it is imperative and it's very important for us all to be able to learn a skill or two to prepare us for jobs of the future. And Uplift Hub recently rebranded itself, changing the logos and the vision to be in line with the current dispensation. And then we have several programs planned. We have the Uplift Learning Circle, we have the Uplift Book Club coming up, and several others. And then this mentorship call with Abubakar Siddiq Ango is one of the first in the learning circle, such that we need to chat with a mentor to be able to guide us as to what to do to excel in choosing careers in tech. So we have with us today Abubakar Siddiq Ango. He is a Google developer expert. He is also the executive director of Uplift Hub. He is a man with many caps, very many caps, and he's a superhero with no cape. So first, Abubakar Siddiq Ango will be sharing with us his journey through tech, how he's able to get here, and how there will be session for you all to ask him your questions, all those pressing questions. You know, a lot of us are confused in the beginning that as to how can I start? And then when I start, what are those things that I need to learn? And then when I'm done learning this, so how can I get my first job? How can I grow in this? So he is there, he has been there, he's there, and he can show us the light, and then to able to enable us know what we can do to make the most of our careers in technology. So Abubakar Siddiq Ango, you can briefly introduce yourself, and then you can take it from there.
Okay, thank you very much for the nice introduction. It's usually difficult to introduce yourself, especially if you have no idea. Okay, where should I start? What should I add? Well, basically, like he said, I'm Abubakar Siddiq Ango. He's my brother. We share the same surname. I'm a software developer. I currently do developer relations. That's as a Developer Evangelism Program Manager at GitLab. GitLab is it's a technology company, and I'm currently based out of The Hague, Netherlands. That's basically about me. And also I'm the executive director of the absentee executive director of Uplift Hub. Since COVID and all the variants that are coming up every day has made all of us to be remote, so at least we are able to achieve more things remotely now. I think that's basically like a summary about me. So where do you want me to start, Musti?
Okay, I want you to start from the beginning. We have 30 minutes for this, okay, for you to share your story, and then would allow our participants ask their questions for the next 30 minutes. So this is expected to last for just 1 hour. So how did you start? What motivated you, and how what's your journey in tech? How did you start?
I would say wow. So basically it's been a long journey, and how it all started was as far back as the year 2000, 2001 in Jos Plateau State. I grew up in Jos before moving to Bauchi. So it all started with, I think then there was this prime time music where all this Kenny Ogumbe, Dayo D1 and so on.
Yeah, every Friday, right?
Yeah, exactly. They usually do a show, music show, put on the latest time of Why Me, the band, and the rest. So I think there was one of the shows where they were saying, oh, if you want to talk to them, you can send them an email and so on and so forth, and they displayed the email. I was like, okay, what is an email? And I wanted to send like some music requests to them. So I decided to take a piece of paper, write down the message I wanted to send. And I went to, there's this cyber cafe in Jos then, very prominent, Afri1, along Amadou Bello. There was two. There was one on this side of the road, and there's another one after Onik Binde stores. Yeah, I think where they had like a coffee shop or something. I think most of the places have changed now. Yeah, so I went there, met a lady, and I think the whole thing started around 2000, 2001. The interest has always been there about computers. But I think I usually remember because my email that was created for me then was Ango12002. So, so that makes me usually remember what year that thing happened. I think January of 2002. So I went to the cyber cafe, met the lady. This letter, I want to send it to this email. So like, you need an email first. Email, okay, how much do you create email? Said, she doesn't create email. Okay, please, where can I create email? Then there's this, at the ICT center of Unijos was quite prominent then. So she suggested if I would go to UJ ICT center, imagine from Amadou Bello to University of Jos old campus. I was like, so she later helped me, created the email ango12002@yahoo.com. And that was where it all started, the interest and everything. And then I think 1 hour was around 600 naira. So I would gather all my break money, do a dashi, go to spend 1 hour in a cyber cafe. And we live at Nasarawa Guang, then near Nepa Junction. So I would trek from there to Amadou Bello just to go and browse for 1 hour. And one of the exciting things then was, it took me several months to know, for example, like this, my mouse, to know that if you want to scroll down, this is what you do. I'll be reading a web page and I'll reach the end of the web page. I was like, why did they stop here now? This thing is supposed to continue. Then I would just click on another link to take me somewhere else. Until one day I was like, Kai, this thing is not supposed to stop here. And I tapped someone next to me that, please, how can I go down? He just put my finger on the scroll. I used it to scroll down. So I think that I would say is like the main, sorry, I'm jittery a bit. The temperature is a bit cold here. I think the weather should be something else today. I wish I'm in Bauchi now. 9 degrees, yes. Now, so that was where like the main pivot came in. But before then, I've always been this type of person who reads a lot, who has always been fascinated about technology. I've changed the things I want to be. You know, when they ask you, what do you want to be in the future? I started with doctor. From doctor, I moved to roboticist because I saw in a newspaper one time, they were seeking scholarship, advertisement for scholarship. And I saw something about roboticist. I was like, what is roboticist? Then I said, Kai, I want to be a roboticist. There was a time I wanted to be a pilot also. There was a time I have plenty things that I've always wanted to be. Even when I got admission into Federal Poly Bauchi, pre-ND, my first choice was electrical and second choice computer. My idea then was like, okay, if I will still be a roboticist, I need to be able to do electronics and also be able to program them. So if I can go for electrical and learn computer, since I've already started learning computer, then I'll match the two. But fate pushed me to computer science. I think it was my dad that made them to change it. Yes, I remember. He said that since your head is already in computer, just continue with computer. So I think that was where the journey started, and I started investing more time. And I think when it comes to programming, there's one Babatunde, I can't remember his full name. I've lost contact on Facebook. He was the one that introduced me to programming. I think VB 6.0 then. There used to be this cafe, bookshop near our secondary school, Cherubim and Seraphim, in Jos, Plateau State, along Angwaru-Kuba Junction. There's this bookshop that used to be there next to the school. So there was a time, I've forgotten the name of the bookshop. So there was a time they started a cyber cafe, and I used to go browse there instead of going to Ahmadu Bello Way. I think this circa 2003, 2004, something like that. So there was a day I went there, then I noticed this guy opened one window and was writing some things that looks like magic, as if you are playing with different incantations on your screen to just do some things. Then I asked him, what is this, etc. And the guy then was working on the cafe biller of the cyber cafe then. So he was writing the codes to make it work, while me, I was just going there to chat with Yahoo Messenger, to go and look for friends and chat with friends on Yahoo Messenger. So that was when he introduced me and showed me, this is how you do this, this is how you do this. That was where the interest in programming starts. And luckily then I got admission around 2005 to Federal Polytechnic, Bauchi, at PND. And from there, the interest in programming started growing from learning VB. I think it was QBasic then. The time of, I think I also used Windows 3.1, Windows 95. Yeah, before Windows 98. So we did a lot of QBasic. And I think one of the things that I did then was to put a lot of interest in learning programming itself. That's all the data structures. Adi, rest in peace. He's one of the people that made me have quite a lot of interest in the algorithms, data structure, and so on. And one of the things I know helped me then was my persistence and perseverance in terms of learning. I think a lot of my friends and colleagues then, I think I was this kind of boring guy who focused so much on school without having too much fun. And I was usually seen as the nerd who is not mingling with others and focused too much on book. Then, though I didn't even graduate with a very good grade myself at the end of the day because I was doing business. So basically, that was when my interest in programming really grew, and I was able to put a lot of attention into it. Then there was this time when this new operating system came in, Ubuntu, and they usually sent disks around. So I usually request for the disks. They will send me like 20, 15, 20. And when I receive them, I usually share it with my friends. And so I think I shared one of the picture ones, and it was nostalgic for a lot of people online to see that those disks that they were sharing then. Then from there, I think I finished my ND. I was looking for a place to do IT. And by then I was already able to do some little web design, write some VB 6.0 applications. And I think the former HOD of computer science, who is the deputy rector of Federal Poly Bauchi now, Malam Sani Usman, was the one that gave me my first gig. I didn't even have a computer then. I think there was a time I was helping one of my uncles to type in school as a typist. And I usually use this computer to do 1 or 2 programming then. So when Malan Sani wanted to, he got a contract, I think. There's this agency in Bauchi, I've forgotten the name. They are around Wunti.
Bakatma?
Yeah, Bakatma, yes, Bakatma.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted a website and they were looking for someone to design the website for them. I don't know if anyone remembers Web PageMaker. There was this application then.
Yeah.
It was Web PageMaker that I used and I was able to deliver then. I think this was around 07, 08. Yeah, 2007, 2008. And when I got, I think it was 100,000 then for the whole project. Man, like big boy then, I was able to buy a desktop computer. And then that was when all the learning started. Okay, I think I missed a part where I spent, during my ND days, I spent quite a lot of time doing JAM registration. Not now that they made it so complicated. Then you can just go to a cyber cafe and fill the form yourself. And because a lot of my people in school then were not that IT literate or know about the internet, so I would just advertise. If others were doing it at 500, oh, my own is 400 or 300. Then people would gather, bring their applications, pay. So instead of scanning, one of the wayo I learned then was, there was this application on Windows, Picture Manager. Yes, Microsoft Picture Manager. You can use it to do some manipulations of image. So after collecting all the 500 from people, let's say like 20 people, that is like 10K. Then I will now take their passports, look for A4 paper, gum each of the passports on A4 paper, then go to a cafe or business cafe. I want to scan. There was a day I fought with someone. He said I must remove each of the passports and scan them one by one, saying a lie. Just scan as you see out for me and send it to the email. So I will scan at 15 naira or 100 naira then. They will send it to my email. Then I will go to cyber cafe. There's this cyber cafe along Yelwa, that Yelwa junction that is very dangerous for crossing. That Yelwa junction. There's this road that goes down. I've forgotten the name of it. Bafajo, something something. I don't know if it's Bafajo Street or something like that. There's a cafe that used to be there.
Yeah, it's Bafajo.
Thank you. Bafajo Street. There was a cafe there. So I'll go to the cafe, pay like 500 naira for overnight, then download that picture that I scanned, crop all of them out, and do all the work there. And once I'm done, I'll generate them as PDF. I don't know, was it PDF then? No, as HTML, save them, then go and print later. At the end of the day, my expense might not even be more than 1.5, profit of almost 8.5. I was a big boy in school then. I even have some of my colleagues that are agents for me. It was one of the pivots, because me going to that cyber cafe made sure that I will go hone my skills and be able to do a lot of things.
Yeah, interesting journey. So would you say that the course you studied in school is integral to your career now? Or anyone that did not study computer science per se will be able to achieve as much?
No, I won't, because I would say it's difficult to answer, but 90% of the way your course does not determine how successful you will be in the career. But I would say one of the things a school is meant for is to give you that foundation, that a school is meant to show you the way. How you walk the rest of the way is your problem. Now, a school is meant to show you the rest of the way. Then I will be unfair to Federal Poly Bauchi if I say Federal Poly Bauchi did not have any impact in what I have become today. But if I would quantify their impact, probably like 5%. Because one, my knowledge of programming then was sparked by all the data structures that Marlon Kadi was teaching us, all the algorithms we were learning then and so on. But that is if you understand what is going on and are able to pick them. The way our schools teach these things, a lot of people who don't have interest or don't have any foundational knowledge will never get it. So, but if you have already been exploring it and you go to school, they kind of make sense to you, you'll be able to learn. So I think that is where schools come in. But I don't think anyone who wants to get into tech now, school cannot determine whether you'll be successful or not. And school is not necessarily, might not necessarily be a foundation for you, but it is useful for you to know, for someone to show you the way first, or else you'll just be lost. That's why a lot of people in tech now are basically lost.
Impressive. And that's in line with what we intend to achieve at with the Learning Circle, such that anyone that is interested in having a skill in a career in technology, or basically a business skill, will be matched with a mentor to guide you, because mentors they've walked the path. They are on the path, and then they'll be able to guide you to where any of the participants have any question before we forge ahead. So if you have a question, you could just raise your hand and then I unmute you, then you can ask your question. Okay, no answer up. So now, for someone that's just starting a career in tech, so what would you say are some of those things that they need to check? Like some of those lists that they need to, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, or the kind of the track you choose, or the kind of basically what are those checklists they need to have?
I think it depends on the interest that the person has. But I think first and foremost is there should be this foundation of computer knowledge itself. I think one of the mistakes a lot of people make, that we also made sometimes do with GDG and the rest, is someone even doesn't even know how to hold a mouse, and you want to teach them GCP. Or you want to teach them Android through Android Study Jam. It's misplaced priority. The only thing you can do is probably to spark the interest, but it will not take them far. Now, the main thing is to start with, okay, make sure you've honed your computer skills first. Okay, you know your way around, you know how to access the internet. A lot of times, struggles that some people struggle wouldn't have been a struggle if they just know how to search on Google. But because that foundational knowledge is not there on how to navigate your way around resources, how to access resources, how to look for solutions to your problem, they end up just being clueless at the end of the day. So I think that foundation is important. Then again, you need someone to be able to help you say, okay, this is backend, this is at a more professional level, this is backend, this is front end, this is product, this is design, this is that. Then when you've identified, okay, you discuss with the person and identify what will resonate well with the person that wants to learn, then you go down to foundations, back down to foundations. It still comes to one of the lack of focus that we have in our community now, that someone will just jump straight to, I want to learn React. That is like saying you want to start doing calculus without even passing primary 6 maths. So you don't know HTML, you don't know CSS, you don't know JavaScript, you don't even know what is if, what is else, you want to go straight into React. So when someone has already taken a path, then what are the foundations? What are those things they need to learn? And if someone wants to go into programming in general, like maybe backend or front end, I think it's always good to learn programming itself. If you must do programming itself before the languages. People tend to learn the languages before learning programming. You cannot solve a problem if you are focused on, for example, you're a bricklayer. You are just focused on, how do I use shovel? How do I use this knife they use for the work? How do I push wheelbarrow? But you are not focused on, okay, what are the ideas around digging the foundations? How do you lay the blocks? How do you place them? Do you need to put leather? Do you need to do this? No, you are not focused on those, but you are just focused on, how do I push wheelbarrow? Okay, you've learned to push wheelbarrow, but you do the work. Then problem will now start. So there should be a lot of focus on learning the concepts of that thing you want to do first. If it is design, you cannot just jump into Figma or just open Photoshop and just start moving things around. You need to understand what are the concepts of layers, what are components, what are this, what are that. The philosophies are around designs. How do you select your colors? How do you do your color matching and everything before you just, that is why you will see some designs, your eye will suddenly become red just because of how confused your eyes is. But someone that knows how to match colors and how to place all the aesthetics of design will spend a lot more time making sure the design is perfect, is good. There's nothing like perfect. It's good before they even reach for their mouse and start drawing things. So I think that is how getting started.
Someone has a question. Yeah, there's a question here from Abubakar Hassan. How, I think you've pretty much talked about that. How do you handle someone who is interested in getting into tech, but hasn't really and sincerely identified a track of interest?
I think basically make the whole experience broad for the person in the sense, okay, learn computer first, learn internet first, show them how to find resources online. You understand? Lead them to places where they can see all the different options, all the different possibilities. Let them groom themselves in the foundation first. Then the choice then becomes theirs. A lot of people will tend to push what they know on the person, not knowing that what they know might not necessarily be what the person can handle or can be able to excel in. So open them up to possibilities and let them just shine, as long as you are making sure they have the right foundation.
Yeah, interesting. So you're a Google developer expert, and there are quite many. I can't even mention. So they for anyone intending to achieve such, what are those things that you think they need to put in place?
I think most of those things are basically titles, in the sense that the name itself doesn't have much meaning beyond people saying, wow, man, this guy na guru. And that doesn't amount to a lot, because if at the end of the day, you cannot really deliver, because those name places you at a pedestal where much is not expected from you. Like they say, to whom much is given, much more is expected.
Yeah.
Now, so I think the main thing is honing your skills at that GCP level. For example, for GDE, your first interview, you will have call. To get a GDE, you will have a call with one of the existing GDEs. You will just discuss, just normal conversation. Hey, tell me about yourself, etc. From the way you are talking, the way you are discussing, the way you are mentioning things and discussing around, these are the things I did, this is how I did it, the person can tell whether this guy is just throwing big English and doesn't know what he's saying, or he actually knows what he's saying. Then from there, you go to interview with a Google employee who is in the company and knows exactly what they will ask you. Okay, what did you do here? How did you do it? etc. If you don't know all these things, there's no way you'll be able to answer the questions and how you solve problem. So there should be more focus on you building your skills first. Once, for example, we mentioned track. Once you've selected that, oh, I want to be a designer, or I want to do user experience, or I want to build mobile application, or you is even just the business aspect, not even the coding and everything, just the business aspect that you want to focus on, like product management and even if it is just you and a CEO you want to be, at that level of CEO, what are the things on the job experience that you need to gather? Because all those accolades only celebrate the value you are delivering, not that they are a credential that you are going to have.
Yeah.
So for me to get to GDE, I think it has been a journey since 2010. I started working with Federal Laboratory 2010 during my HND days. And one of the major responsibilities I was given was to build the Polytechnic website. Since then, we've been using Google G Suite for education, where every student of the Polytechnic since 2010 till date has an official email address with Google. So some of those experiences from using some of those things, deploying the Polytechnic portal on GCP, I had my Google Cloud SQL certification since around 2012. And so on, all those experiences that I was gathering are what amounts to what I'm able to give as value now, that is now enabling me to get some of those recognitions that are there. So don't aim for, I want to be a GDE. What skills are you gathering? What experiences are you gathering? What value are you delivering to the community that makes you deserve the GDE?
Impressive. So basically, it's about you just starting. With what you have, where you are, and then aim for the highest. So your job at GitLab, a Developer Evangelism Program Manager. So what's a day like in your role?
Wow, interesting. I think my job is a lot of things. Basically, it's developer relations, partly developer relations and partly program management. Developer relations is, you create content, you create video resources, you engage with the community, get feedback, relate it back to the team internally at GitLab. Then the program management aspect is there are other developer evangelists within the team. And while they focus on content creation and engaging with the community, I also try to help them work better by enabling them to get better results from the content they are pushing out and helping them coordinate things around, okay, they want to go speak at the conference, okay, I'll coordinate the CFP program and so on. So my day mostly will be, okay, I check my mails, I go to Slack if there's anything. There are certain OKRs, objectives and key results that have been defined for the quota. Look at them, review the OKRs, try to see how I can push them forward. Maybe it might be, okay, me writing a script or writing a program or doing one or two automations just to make things work. Then some days I sit down to write articles. Another day, probably I'm trying to create a demo about how you use a particular solution. I think it's multifaceted. It depends on what enables you to get that KPI or achieve the key results that has been set.
Interesting. So it's majorly a remote setting, right?
Yeah.
So the remote work environment is quite new, and a lot of people don't really understand what it entails. So can you tell us briefly To anyone interested in working in remote environments, what are some of those things that they need to like put in check?
Yeah, GitLab is an all-remote company. I think we are around 1,500 employees now, and everyone is remote. Everyone works from home or from a co-working space. Now, the main thing is one, self-discipline. Self-discipline in the sense that you respect yourself, you do what you say you will do, and you deliver results. Now, it also depends. It's not just that, okay, we are working as in the office before, let's now just start doing remote since we all have computers and internet. You need to change the whole culture around how you work and how people interact with one another to be able to enjoy remote. It's not just, let us just do Zoom call. Now, the first thing will be result-oriented. You need to be result-oriented. Your company needs to be result-oriented so that it's not after how many hours you are working, but what results are you delivering at the end of the day? Now, as an individual, you need to be a manager of one. No one needs to be chasing you up and down. You've not done this, you've not done that. I personally still struggle with that, but it's one of the things you need to be able to have. Then you need to communication skills. You need to be able to express yourself because the person you are talking to is probably not there. Or if you are working with a global company, maybe the person you are sending a message to is not even awake. Maybe the person is in Australia by now, they are in night time, he's not on his computer. How do you type the message that the person will get everything he needs to respond to you as fully as possible? Not that to say, what do you mean here? Or ask a lot of follow-up questions before they can answer you as effectively as possible. So it boils down to self-discipline, being a manager of one, you being able to manage yourself and push yourself, communication, your communication style, and as a whole, even if you have all of this, your organization needs to be designed in such a way that it supports and enables remote work. It's beyond just you have internet, you have computer. No. It's
beyond being able to just work at your freedom.
Yeah,
it's beyond that. So largely, you could categorize it as like 30% of what you know and 70% of your soft skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So there's a question here from Grant Williams.
Yeah.
He said, you mentioned data structure and algorithms. I think one of those questions you answered earlier. So he's asking, where does this come in? Is this a foundational for beginners or advanced?
It's foundational. You start with the foundational parts of data structure and algorithm. You need to know how to use while. You need to know how to use do. You need to do while. You need to know how to structure your application. When should you use switch case? When should you use if? How do you handle loops? How do you make sure you don't run into infinite loop? How do you structure your application? I think one of the mistakes a lot of people do is it's just like you want to build a house and you did not go to meet an architect. They did not draft anything. You just ask people, oh yeah, you know the way some of these local people build house. You just go and buy block, just carry paper and biro, just, okay, see, Gadaki Amaria, Gadaki Wargida, see parlor, see kitchen, children go there here. They will just dig ground small and start putting lacquer. You understand? At the end of the day, there's no structure, there's no plan, there's nothing. But when you settle down with an architect, first they design your plumbing, not just design the way they will lay the blocks, your plumbing, your wiring, your everything. All this boils around the same way that data structure and algorithm work. So foundational knowledge, you start with how do you understand all the sorting. If you want to sort elements, sorting is like basic foundation. You want to find an item within a string, they are like foundational knowledge. You need to understand them. Then it's when you start getting to more complicated things like big O note. Even big O notation isn't necessarily too complicated, but at least you can still learn those at some levels. Because the idea is when you start working for organizations where you need to write programs that do a lot of intelligent decisions, that is when you really, really blame yourself for not knowing these things from the foundation.
Okay. There's another question here from Gideon.
Yeah.
He's asking, what is an effective way to approach learning a concept or language?
Learn the concept first. Then language is just to apply the concept. It's just like common sense. You understand? Whether you know how to speak Hausa or you know how to speak English or you know how to speak Birom. An insult is an insult, whichever language it is. And a greeting is a greeting, regardless of the language. So it's the same thing with programming. If you learn the concept first, you can apply it to any language, because you will get to a point in your career where anything that gets the job done is what you will need to use. For example,
so a particular language doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you can be invested in a language. I always advise people that you should build your breadth, you understand, in terms of be a jack of all trades, master of one. Be aware of a lot of things, but make sure you're an expert in one. Maybe maybe you've picked JavaScript and you've gone so deep in JavaScript that there's nothing within JavaScript that you cannot dissect. And you've used that JavaScript to learn all the different concepts and all the different ideas behind programming. If someone throws PHP at you, it should be that you just need to, okay, how does PHP do this? How does PHP do this? How does PHP do this? And within an hour or 2 hours, you can start writing something. That is how you should be. So focus more on the concepts, the way to do things, and not how to do it from the beginning.
Yeah, interesting. So there's a question from Adiza here. She's asking, my question is, where do I start from? I'm confused of where and what to start with. I'm passionate about everything tech, but choosing is difficult. So before our mentor answers, Adiza, you need to join the learning circle, and then you would be able to learn some of those things. But first, I'll share a link here for anyone on this call, so you could join the circle, and then there are several tracks that you can choose from. The intention is to link you to have a peer-to-peer learning experience, then link you to mentors that would guide you as to in your learning processes. So you can answer our question now.
Okay, I think the first thing is, at what stage in the tech ecosystem are you first? Are you completely new? For you to be on Zoom, so I won't assume you are new to computers. So the next thing will be, okay, how conversant with you are you with the internet in general, moving around, getting resources and so on. Then the next thing is, what are you passionate about? Probably you are the kind of person that pays a lot of attention to details. Maybe you are the kind of person who the creative side of things always fascinates you. You can go explore design, see how people do graphics, see how people make decisions around interfaces, user experience. If you are the type of person who likes to break things, I'm pointing at someone, you can go into quality assurance, so that when people have created what they've created finish, you are the one that will go and poke and see whether it's working or not, and break it to see whether they've done it well. Fidel, well done. Then, or if you are the kind of person who likes complexity, you understand? Who likes complexity, then you can go into like, you want to be able, you are the kind of person that they can throw, okay, problem, matter don't scatter, finish. They are still trying to settle it. You are very good in hearing from everybody and solve a problem. Then you can go into more technical parts of programming. Who is talking to you? More technical parts of programming, like doing the backend, doing all the architectural designs. If you are the type who likes automation, okay, you want to move things from here and there, go into things like DevOps and so on. But I would say start with learning basic programming. Even if you will not end up being a back-end or front-end person, learn basic programming. Okay, how do you do this? What is if? What is else? What is, and so on. Because no matter the field, there are certain times that you will need to touch JavaScript if you are doing front-end. If you are doing product design, there are certain times you will need to, if you are doing design, I think is it Photoshop or which application, you can script your design. You can do some animations. You need some knowledge of script. So try to learn some basic programming. But in the first place, make sure you look at and see what resonates with you. YouTube is very good in seeing a lot of videos, in seeing how people do things and what they do first before you even dabble into it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that. And then to add to that, I think it's always good to do some soul searching, to ask yourself first, who am I? And then you'd be able to understand what really fits you in tech. You know, personally for myself, it took me time, like several years for me to be able to like put all of those things that I know together to find a direction as to my place in the tech ecosystem. So is there any other question for our mentor here from anyone?
I think one other thing I want to add is it's good to jump around at the foundation stage, but don't jump around too much. Okay, you touch front end a bit, you touch back end a bit, you touch design a bit. Then later you now, okay, it seems as if I would just focus on this one.
Okay, there's a question from Fidel. He's asking, what are the non-technical roles within tech and how do one grow there without feeling lost?
I think there are lots of technical roles within tech. It's just,
he's asking what are the non-technical roles? You know, for those that are not, that I don't want to go into the hard part of it. Yeah. But it's something that they can relate to it. So
okay. For non-technical, there are quite a lot of things. When developers finish writing their codes, they need documentation. There are people who analysts. Developers sometimes usually want to just focus on writing their codes, but doing the research of, okay, we want to build this. What are the features that we need? Writing all the requirements, doing all the research, and then designing what the developers will do. We have product analysts, we have product managers. Product managers are the ones that even direct the developers on, this is how you build this is how you build that. I won't say design is not technical because you use a lot of softwares. Design is definitely not technical. Design is definitely technical. Make Ibrahim not come from my head. Design is definitely technical, but it might not be as complicated as you having to write codes every day, but making creative decisions. So if you're a creative person, you can go into that. Then there's also technical writing documentation. Documentation is usually around you writing articles, writing content that explains the psyche, the thinking of what or how to use what the developers have created. There's the security aspect also, but security is technical because you need to be able to pry into whatever it is that has been built. And if you don't know how it works, you cannot know how to break them. So it depends on you as a person and what you are after. But the key thing is English first, knowing how to, because a lot of times, some of these things that people think, Ango knows this and that, it's just that I can quickly go and read and learn about those things, then come and explain. That is a huge part of learning. So paying attention to things and taking time to learn is very, very vital. And how do one grow there without feeling lost? I think it should take one step at a time. A lot of us wants to start from the top instead of
starting a building from the roof.
Exactly. I don't know how that is possible. Start a building from the roof. You want to blow first. You don't want to learn. So at the end of the day, when you now put yourself in a position where instead of learning, you are already trying to show that you know, people who are even supposed to teach you or share information with you will not share because they will assume you already know. At the end of the day, you get lost or you feel lost in the whole thing. Take things step by step, persevere, and know that things can be difficult. But it is you that, there are things you will look at that if I was looking at them a year ago, they are like astrophysics. But now it's like ABC, because I've taken time to go into more foundational knowledge, get more context, get more reasoning around the whole thing, an idea how the whole thing is designed, which will make me learn it better.
Yeah, thank you very much for that concise answer. There's another question from Saeed Mohammed. He's asking, I'm passionate about data science. What will you say about that, and what is the roadmap?
I don't have a lot of knowledge around a roadmap to data science, but I would say a lot of them usually have, your knowledge of math has to be good, your knowledge of statistics has to be good. And you also need, there are languages that are meant for data science. I know Python is used quite a lot in data science. And I know something like R. You need to be able to design charts. You need to be able to do a lot of computations. So it's just like people that run away from maths. With data science, you need to do quite a lot of maths. And I would say, try to learn Python, but learn it at the more foundational stage before you start digging into data science things. Then if you start there, you can then grow yourself and build. And learn things like Excel. Excel is a very powerful thing that a lot of people learn before even jumping into data science. Have an idea of how all of those things work. Then from there, you can then start exploring more deeper things around data science.
Yeah,
I think probably if you search data science roadmap, you can get a lot of resources online.
Okay, so we have another question from Abubakar Hassan. He's asking, what are the red flags that indicates that one is settling for their current role, or that translates to stagnation without chasing the buzz of learning new stuff in the ecosystem?
There's a lot to unbundle from this question.
A lot. You can take it word by word.
What are the red flags that indicate one is settling for their current role, or that translates to stagnation without choosing the buzz of learning new things? I think this boils down to my experience while I was working at Federal Poly Bauchi. I started working 2010, I think up till 2016 fully. I still do a couple of things part-time, but one of the things where you notice stagnation is when you are no longer feeling challenged. Everything is becoming too easy for you. And you are not kind of happy or passionate any longer in that thing that you are doing. Then you know that, okay, probably you are stagnating, or that passion is no longer there. Those are some of the red flags. But passion is no longer there. You are no longer feeling challenged. Everything is just boring, getting boring for you. But one of the ways, and on the other part about without chasing the buzz of learning new stuff in the ecosystem, you cannot do without learning new stuff. Languages are updating every day. If it is PHP, you are using PHP version comes almost a few months apart. If it is Kubernetes, every day they add more wings to the thing. If it is cloud, every day new things are coming out. So that's why I usually push the mantra of be a jack of all trades, master of one. Jack of all trades in the sense that you can write some HTML, you can write some JavaScript if it is thrown at you. You can, if someone, my YouTube is not working, you can go and set the thing for them. My Facebook, I forgot my Facebook password. You can check it for them. You understand? Or you can do a bit of mobile design if the challenge comes. You can do all these bits. The idea behind all of these things is having an idea how other things work, so that when you are working with other people, you know how to work with them. Then social skills also, you have an idea of how to communicate with people, how to write and so on, but you are still focused on that key thing you've already set your mind on. Oh, I'm a DevOps engineer and I am drilling deep into DevOps engineering. Even in DevOps, you are saying, it is just scalable infrastructure that is my problem. And you are going deeper into it, getting more experience. It's just like school. In primary school, they double everything together for you. You enter junior class, you do like 15 courses. You go into senior classes and you are narrowed a bit to science or arts or commercial. When you go to university, you pick a course. When you go for masters, you narrow more down in that your course path. And when you go to PhD, you are more narrow into a more narrow path in that your PhD. It's the same thing with building depth in that part that you've selected that you want to do, while still having idea about some other areas.
Thank you very much for all the insights so far. So we have a couple of minutes to go. So if there are no more questions, I would like you to give us your parting words.
My parting words is one, be consistent. Do what you say you will do. This is especially me talking to myself. Always do what you say you will do. Focus more on learning and building yourself, and do less with distractions. Don't. Twitter is a landmine of people deceiving themselves. Don't be fooled by a lot of nonsense on Twitter. A lot of people on Twitter are just putting up facades. It's when you engage with them sometimes that you now know that, let me go just do my lane. People are just deceiving themselves. And always challenge yourself. For example, there's this Twitter challenge that was done one time that people will say, now problem will pass my power. I want to look for now. So, or you also do the challenge for yourself personally. Challenges that you think are beyond you are what you should look for. I always tell people that if you want to get to the moon, shoot for the stars. So that if all your efforts to reach the moon no reach, at least you go down reach. If all your effort to reach the stars no reach, at least you go down reach the moon or pass the moon first and settle there. So try as much as possible to challenge yourself. Once you notice where you are is not currently challenging, seek new challenges, push yourself ahead. My new year, my own 2020 resolution will be problem will pass my power. Now I want to look for
2020.
Sorry, 2022. Not going back. For 2022, things will pass my power. Now I want to do. That is how you will challenge yourself. That's how you push yourself forward. Maybe you just wake up now that it is you want to start programming spacecraft. Just define it for yourself. Then how do you now get there? You start pushing yourself to get there. So I think those are my parting words. And thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much to the 21. We had several people came in and logged out, but this 21 participants stayed from beginning till the end. That shows the session was quite engaging.
See, someone is being pushing themselves now. I want to. That is a challenge. At least if you don't reach 200 billion, if you reach that kind of $10 million, that is progress.
So thank you very much to everyone that joined this the call. And I don't know if you can do something briefly. Can we all turn on our video? Let's just take a selfie quickly.
You want to look for trouble?
Yeah, let's take a selfie quickly. We have just a minute to do that.
Plenty people are in their unders.
We can excuse you. We can excuse you if you're in the toilet.
Fidel, don't go rush, carry with the cover head.
No, really, like it's kind of cold here, and my fan did also, and the hair also. So maybe person looks more responsible.
We still have some couple of
before you start the picture, make it look nice.
So let me just take the selfie. We have Arafat Sabo here. Thank you for joining the call. So
Metaverse, okay.
thank you to everyone. I think I have it now.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you everyone for having me.
Very much. Thank you.
So I've shared some couple of links, and also we have a YouTube channel now that will be launching very soon. So all of these sessions that I'll be having for some of us that missed the session, or for anyone that missed the session, we're going to be uploading it on the channel for everyone to benefit on. We're seeing Light on the call. Good to see you, Light.
Light of God PC. Stop downloading.
So the session is over. So if we just have 5 minutes to just chat amongst everyone here.
Hi, Light. Good to see you.
So I'll stop the recording now.